Welcome back to D20 Tactics. On this channel, I play Dungeons & Dragons with my friends, and we explore combat scenarios and play out the tactics used to defeat monsters quickly and safely, giving you more time to get back to role-playing. I'm your host and Dungeon Master, Sarson0, and this week we have a recap of the dungeon recently completed by AzureWolf, BlindOracle, Fear No Equal, and Restricted. First, I'll replay the 6 encounters that made up the extraplanar prison, and then we'll talk about the encounters that we thought deserved more commentary. If you've recently watched those encounters, I'll put a timestamp to the start of the discussion in the description below. All of our heroes made it back after this one, so sit back, relax, and enjoy. Adventurers have been trapped and sent to a prison on the outer plane of Limbo. There, they're going to have to fight the cosmic frog jail keepers that keep the jails on the plane of Limbo and break the seals that are holding them on that plane and then escape back to the prime material plane. Hit points, abilities, spells, items in hand.
So I have a Great Axe +1 in hand. I have my Second Wind and my Action Surge available, and my Indomitable available, and I am at 94 out of 94 hit points.
So I'm holding the +1 shortbow, and I have 73 out of 73 hit points.
I have the Wand of the War Mage in my hand and my spellbook in my offhand, and I have 62 hit points. Spells remaining, I have 3 first level slots left, 3 second level slots left, 3 third level slots left, 3 fourth level slots left, 2 fifth level slots.
Alright, I have my +1 shield in my offhand, 4 first level slots, 3 second level slots, 3 third level slots, 3 fourth level slots, and 2 fifth level slots remaining. And 83 hit points.
This encounter has a death cosmic frog. I don't know for certain that the enemy you're fighting is a trademarked villain, but in case it is, I'm not going to use the name Slod for whatever reason. I'm not going to use any other names either. I'm just going to use cosmic frog to refer to the thing that you're fighting. They can shape change into humanoids or back into their normal forms. Shape change never really does much. They have magic resistance, which gives them advantage against spell saves and magical effects. Their weapons themselves are magical, which is fun. They regenerate, and they can bite, claw, and they have a greatsword. Terrain and effects. So this terrain is a little different. There are 2 types of terrain that you're going to run into. They're both dangerous. One of them is damaging. There's the damaging terrain, which are the gears and clockwork that exist holding the prison together. They are uncovered and accessible to adventurers should you fall into them. So any space that is marked in red, if you enter into that space and you're standing on that space, the gears will do 2d6 bludgeoning damage to you as they grind your ankles or feet in between their sharp metal teeth. The orange spaces are space, but it is breathable space. It just doesn't have any friction, surface, or gravity for you to propel yourself off on. So if you fly over it, you're fine. If you jump over it, you're fine. But if you would have to land in such a space, you cannot gain any traction and you are immobile. You get stuck in that spot, you can't move. You will be recoverable at the end of the encounter, but once you land in the orange space, you don't have any normal means of movement. You just kind of float off into the abyss. Maybe that's a good thing if you're a ranged character who doesn't want to be followed, but that's what we have for terrain.
A question on terrain. There were spaces that look like they are inside the cracks that are not highlighted in red. Could I
Can you drop into it? Oh, that's an interesting question. I would say no, that this is not enough of a gap for you to hide behind, yeah.
All right, thank you.
Tactics on fighting a Chaos Frog of Death.
This looks like single monster tank at Spank.
Yeah, probably get the cleric in front, dodging, maybe drop a spiritual weapon, trying to soak up as much damage as I can, just because I have the highest AC, unless of course he's going for saves, in which case I don't know who has the best saves out of all of us, but still probably me.
If there's no other thoughts about tactics, let's go ahead and roll initiative.
Ooh, nice.
I got a decent roll this time. I normally roll below 10 for initiative.
Anybody have higher than a 20?
22 on a wizard.
Anybody have between a 20 and a 15? Anybody have between a 15 and a 10?
13 for the rogue.
13 for the Chaos Toad.
Also a 13 on the cleric.
Fighter has an 11.
And what does the Owl have?
8.
AzureWolf, you're up first.
Yep. Let's get a clear shot and firebolt. So that is going to be 12.
12 is not going to hit their armor class.
And that's good for me.
After that, we're going to go to the BlindOracle.
I need to move. They're out of range. I would like to sneak in behind the wizard and hide.
Love it.
18.
That'll do it. What's your action?
Hold action. If the sled comes within 60 feet, take a shot. Sorry, 80 feet. That is my turn.
After the BlindOracle is the Chaos Frog. The Chaos Frog is going to do exactly that. It has only melee weapons, so it's going to charge forward at you. It's going to move to there. That will trigger the Rogue's Ready to Action.
With advantage, does a 29 hit?
Yep.
Well, I hope so.
For 31 points of damage from a magical piercing weapon.
and then it will dash to there. That's my action. After the frog is the restricted.
Oh, I have a friend. I think I will use my action to dodge, and I will get up in its face, and then I will cast Spiritual Weapon to my left. 27 to hit
Hits.
for 7.
After the restricted, we go to the fear.
Move me up to the north side of the opponent. I assume I can jump that gap. Attack number 1 with the Great Axe. That is a 15 to hit.
15 will miss. Bounces off the natural armor.
Attack number 2 with the Great Axe. That is a 24 to hit
Yep.
for 10 damage.
You all set?
Yes, that's it for me.
After that, we're going to go to the owl.
Move in, aggravate him for the wizard, and move to the south.
Top of the order, AzureWolf.
Alright, advantage. I'm gonna firebolt, and that's a nat 20.
Okay.
21 plus the 5 for the empowered invocation, so 26.
This thing resists fire, so it's only going to take 13.
Good to know. And that's gonna be my turn.
After that, we're going to go to the BlindOracle.
Bonus action, hide. 27.
Yep.
Take the shot from where I'm standing. 21 to hit.
21 succeeds.
28 damage. That is my turn.
After that, we're going to go to the frog. Frog is going to generate at the start of its turn.
Ooh.
Some of the wounds start to close up. Let's try and maul the fighter with the easier AC. Only slightly easier AC. First one, which is a bite. 14 to hit you.
Nope.
Second one is a greatsword. 24 to hit you.
Yep.
Take 12 points of slashing and 3 points of necrotic for 15 total. Third attack, another 24 to hit you for 11 points of slashing and 11 points of necrotic for 22 total. That's my guy. After the Chaos Frog, we're going to go to the restricted.
Well, I'll start with the Spiritual Weapon attack. And that will be a 22 to hit.
Hits.
A 7 on the roll for 12 force damage. I will make a swing with my Warhammer. It's not magical. That's going to be a 20 to hit.
Hits.
4 bludgeoning and 7 radiant damage. And that will be my turn.
After the restricted, we go to the fear.
Gonna attack again. Great Axe for... Nope, critical miss. Gonna attack again. Great Axe for 20.
Hits.
Reroll the damage. 14 damage. Using my second wind for 14 HP. That is it for me.
After the fear, we go to the owl.
Yep, I'm gonna move in. Same thing for the wizard. And then move back.
And then after the owl, we go to the AzureWolf.
Move up close enough to be 10 feet from the creature. Poison spray. It's a DC Con 17 save.
He has advantage because he has magic resistance, and he's going to pass.
Okay, he still takes half because of the potent cantrip, so he's gonna take 5 and move back in front of the rogue.
After the AzureWolf is the BlindOracle.
The Society for Sneaking really, really appreciates the wizard right now. Bonus action, hide. 30.
Yep.
Pop out and shoot real quick. Crit.
Okay. Is that 12d6?
Yeah, it is. Weak crit, though. Really weak. Only 39 points of damage.
Only 39. All right. Well, that's 39 points of damage.
$20 is $20. I get it, but yeah.
You good there?
Yeah, we're good.
Cool. Frog is going to regenerate and go after the fighter again. Attempt to bite you. 15 is going to miss. 2 attacks with the greatsword. 13 isn't going to do it. And a 20. Take 13 slashing damage and 5 necrotic for 18 total. Those are mine. After the Chaos Frog, we go to the restricted.
I think I'll do the same thing I did last turn. We'll start with the Spiritual Weapon. That will be a 24 to hit.
Mm-hmm.
A 1 on the dice, so 6 force damage. And then the Warhammer. That will be a 13 to hit.
13 is a miss.
Alright, and I will end my turn.
After that, we're going to go to the Fear No Equal.
Alright, we're just gonna keep on pounding on this guy. Hopefully kill him before he kills me. That is an 18 to hit.
18 is what you need.
Reroll for damage. 10 damage. Second attack. That is a 17 to hit.
17 is not what you need. You need an 18. You good there?
Yep.
After the Fear is the Owl.
Move in. Let's go for the rogue this time because I don't need it if I'm using poison spray.
After the Owl, we go to the AzureWolf.
Same thing, move in 10 feet from it. Poison spray. DC Con 17.
Advantage for magic resistance, he's going to pass.
And half of 17. It's 8.
You did 17 damage.
Uh-huh.
He's got 4 hit points left, so he's going to drop.
Yay!
That's the first encounter. Port hit point.
62 out of 62.
73 out of 73.
83 out of 83.
53 out of 94.
End of encounter actions. Anybody want to do anything at the end of the encounter?
Fighter, would you like some hit points?
Yes, but that's what I have healing potions for.
Alright, I'll save my spells then.
2d4 plus 2. Gonna use the second one. First was 7, second was 4.
The adventurers have killed off their jailer and are free to explore the plane of limbo, trying to find their way out of this plane and back onto the home that they know and love. Hit points, abilities, spells, items in hand, AzureWolf.
62 out of 62. Wand of the War Mage in my hand, along with my spellbook. 3 first level, 3 second level, 3 third level, 3 fourth level, 2 fifth level.
BlindOracle.
Shortbow +1 in hand. No spells to speak of. No short rest abilities to speak of. 73 out of 73 hit points.
Restricted.
83 of 83 hit points, +1 shield in offhand, 4 level 1 spells, 2 level 2 spells, 3 level 3 spells, 3 level 4 spells, and 2 level 5 spells. I also have all of my channel divinities.
And Fear No Equal.
64 out of 94 hit points, Great Axe +1 in hand. I have Action Surge and Indomitable both available.
Monsters, abilities, items, and numbers. In this encounter, they're going to fight against one gray Chaos Toad. The gray Chaos Toads have the resistances that the Chaos Toad of Death had. They shape change, they have magic resistance, they have magic weapons, they can regenerate, they bite, they claw, they have great swords. The difference is they don't do necrotic damage like the Death Toad did. Accompanying this Chaos Toad is a pair of cult fanatics. These are Cult of Chaos. No trademark there, hopefully. I'm certain nobody has ever trademarked Cultist of Chaos. They have a variety of spells. They have Command, Inflict Wound, Shield of Faith, Hold Person, Spiritual Weapon. That's what they've got. Terrain and effects. The adventurers have made their way out onto the air docks of the prison. If you fall off the dock, you're going to be stuck in the same way that you were stuck last time. It's essentially 0 movement unless you have some sort of fly speed or some other way to travel without your feet touching the ground. So that's any of the orange area. If the orange area also has some girders or planks or something like that, you can try to balance on those with a DC 15 acrobatics check. And if you fail those checks, then you're going to fall off. There's a couple of pieces of difficult terrain. You can walk around on those. Then in the middle here, there's a giant fan that's keeping the thing in position. If you fall into the giant fan, you're going to take 4d6 slashing damage, I suppose, for a fan, as you get chewed up by the fan blades, and then spit back out. So, any questions about terrain?
Are the barrels tall enough to hide behind?
Absolutely.
How tall are the walls?
They're half cover height.
So they're going to at least limitedly prevent us from falling off.
No, they don't impede movement at all.
Doesn't matter which side we go, we can get knocked off of things one way or the other.
But if you want to hide behind the low walls, then you're welcome to do so. Tactics. What do you guys think for fighting a single Chaos Toad supported by 2 friends?
If they group up, I can either get close and use Spirit Guardians, or the wizard can always go with Trusty Fireball.
I mean, we want to open with Trusty Fireball if possible anyway.
Yeah, usually.
I think in this case it's probably worth it because it'll lower those cultists to where we can knock them out very rapidly.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Instead of our usual knock out the single target, let's try and chip them all and then knock off the little guys as fast as we can. It feels like it's supposed to be a choke fight, but as we love, we've got 2 different passages here. Doesn't matter which side we take. Fireball if possible, and then let them come to us and take them the same old way.
Yeah, coming to us might be problematic depending on how spell-happy Chaos Cultists are, though. Those spells can be kind of annoying at times.
Any other thoughts? In this case, let's throw down. Go ahead and roll initiative.
Okay. Maybe.
Anybody have higher than 20?
Yes.
Okay. What do you got?
The rogue has a 25.
Anybody have between a 20 and a 15?
18 here.
16 on the wizard.
Anybody have between a 15 and a 10?
12 on the owl.
Anybody have between a 10 and a 5? I have an 8 for the Chaos Frog and Co. What do you got for me, Fighter?
My initiative dice are back. I have a 3.
Ah, yes.
All right, Rogue, start us off.
I would like to go behind the first set of barrels, hide bonus action, 33.
Mm-hmm.
Then we'd like to take a shot at the northmost cultist.
Okay.
Because I think that's the one I can see. Unless I can see...
You can see all of them. They're just all going to have cover.
We'll shoot the toad. 28 to hit
28 hits.
for 28 points of damage. That is my turn.
After that, we're going to go to the Cleric.
Let's see here. The Cleric will move 4 to the right, and let's go 1 up. And we'll cast another Spiritual Weapon on the Grey Toad. We'll put it to his lower left. That is a 20 to hit.
20 hits.
13 force damage. And action to dodge and end turn.
After the Cleric is the Wizard.
I would like to move to that southeast square of the cleric there, please. What a fireball on the group there, hitting as many as possible. DC 17 dex save. 33 plus the 5, so 38.
Fail. Fail. And then this guy has magic resistance, so he's going to fail as well. Chaos Cultists are going to drop immediately. Chaos Toad is going to take 19 because it resists fire. What's next? Or is that it?
That's it. I guess I didn't need to move here because I was moving for counterspell.
After that, we're going to go to the owl.
Cannot get to that target, so let's move him to that barrel north of me.
Behind it.
Yep.
After that, we're going to go to the frog. Frog regenerates on its turn. Frog is going to...
Ooh, nice move.
behind cover and in melee range with a squishy.
Excellent choice.
After that, we're going to go to the fighter.
Charge up to the north of the rogue, and we are going to attack with our great axe. That is going to miss. That's a 13 to hit.
Indeed, it will.
Try again. That is a 25 to hit.
Yep.
For 13 damage.
All set.
Action surge.
You got more.
21 to hit.
Yep.
Reroll the damage. 15 damage. Last attack. That's a crit. Apologies, I dropped my other die and had to go fetch it. So that is a total of 22 on the crit.
After that, we're going to go to the rogue.
Is it worth it for me to try and stab this thing, or should I just disengage? Let's just disengage and be safe.
Yeah, you've got the sneak attack anyway.
Yeah. Bonus action disengage. Behind the barrels? Behind the cleric. And we will go ahead and shoot the toad from there. 24 to hit.
24 will connect.
That's good damage. 33 points of damage.
33 is lethal.
Yay.
Nice.
Short rest. Report hit points remaining.
73 of 73.
83 of 83.
62 of 62.
64 of 94.
Is anybody going to spend any hit dice?
I can use them sequentially, right?
Yes. You can roll it, read it, and then decide if you want to roll more.
2 for 17, gonna use 2 more. And 2 for 15 puts me at 94 of 94. Used 4 of 10.
Any post-rest actions?
Not it.
The adventurers steal themselves onto a ship and make their way out to the various moats that are floating around the Chaos Plane, looking for seals that will get them out of here. Hit points, abilities, spells, items in hand, rogue.
73 of 73 hit points, holding a +1 short bow in hand.
Cleric.
83 of 83 hit points, 4 level 1 spells, 1 level 2 spell, 3 level 3 spells, 3 level 4 spells, 2 level 5 spells, +1 shield in hand.
Wizard.
62 out of 62 hit points. 3 first level, 3 second level, 2 third level, 3 fourth level, 2 fifth level. In hand is my Wand of the War Mage and Spellbook.
And fighter.
94 out of 94 hit points, +1 great axe in hand, second wind, action surge, and indomitable all available.
Monsters' abilities, items, and numbers. This encounter has 1 green Chaos Toad, 1 red Chaos Toad, and 8 cultists. The green Chaos Toad has the Shape Changer ability like its comrades. It has the magic resistance like its comrades. It regenerates like its comrades. It has multi-attack like its comrades, but it also has the ability to hurl flame. It can throw a ranged spell attack at you to deal a couple of points of damage. Red Chaos Toads have magic resistance, have regeneration. They do not have the ability to shapeshift. They have bites and they have claws. They have the same resistances and a little bit lower armor than their comrades do. Cultists are CR 1/8 cultists, so they're very weak. They're all wielding scimitars. They also have advantage versus charm and frighten. That's what a cultist does. Terrain and effects. There's lava in this.
Ooh.
I don't know if you would have figured that out by looking at the map, but I'm telling you now. Lava will do 66 fire damage if you wind up in it. That's what the terrain looks like.
What's the verticality in play here? It looks like there's stairs. I assume there's stairs up.
No, you're absolutely right. I hadn't thought about that. No, there's no significant verticality. Treat this as an island, level with the rest of you. After that, tactics. What do you guys think for this fight?
It's a convenient little fireball shape on the floor there.
Yeah.
We don't even need to cross the lava. We can just fireball them and then stand here and snipe down the green one and let the red one come to us.
Yeah.
In fact, Shatter probably would do for the cultists if you don't want to blow the 3rd level spell slot.
Sounds good to me.
Any other thoughts? Are you guys good to go?
I'm ready.
We cool?
Let's go ahead and roll initiative then.
Whoa.
Anybody have higher than a 20?
I have a 20.
Rogue also has a 20.
Who's going first? You guys can decide.
Yeah, I'll go. Just so I can nuke them and then you can shoot.
I'll let the wizard go first. Yeah.
Who's got between a 20 and a 15? Who's got between a 15 and a 10?
13 on the cleric.
10 for the owl.
6 for the frogs. Fighter, what do you got for me?
5.
AzureWolf, you're up first.
Yeah, I think it's a shatter. It is a DC Con 17. 60 feet, so I need to move up as close as I can.
Yep, and the damage?
Yep, 15.
15 or 7. Top left is going to pass. Top right is going to fail. West side top is going to pass. West side south is going to fail. East side top is going to fail. East side bottom is going to pass. South left is going to fail. Bottom right is going to pass. Some movement, some action. Anything else?
Good.
After that, we go to the Blind Oracle.
Sure. Hide bonus action. 29.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to take the shot at the green green toad in the
14,
back.
14, 15. Oh, man. Oh, boy.
Just in range.
Yep, 75 feet out of 80. You got him.
25 to hit.
25 will connect.
26 points of damage.
You good there?
That's turn.
After that is restricted.
The dwarf will move 5 tiles to the bridge, and then I will use Sacred Flame on the red toad. DC 17 dexterity saving throw.
You got it. He has magic resistance, so he's going to pass.
Shucks. Leave it there for now and turn.
After that, we're going to go to the owl.
Let's move him up behind the wizard here and dodge.
After the owl is the frogs and company. He's going to jump the gap. These guys are going to follow suit. This guy's going to dash. This guy's going to dash. This guy's going to dodge. This guy's going to dodge. The green toad is going to regenerate, and he's got a 60-foot range, so he's going to hurl flame at the wizard.
Is this a cantrip or a spell?
Neither.
Gotcha. Carry on.
15 to hit you.
Yeah, let's shield.
Second shot. 16 to hit you. We'll bounce off the shield. We're going to go over to there. After that, we're going to go to the fear.
Advance to the square east of the cleric and attack number 1. That is a 17 to hit for 16 damage. Attack number 2. That is a critical for 20 total damage. Bonus action, Ring of Jumping.
You got it. After that, we're going to go to the AzureWolf.
I'm going to use my Wand of Magic Missiles and upcast it by 1 for 4. And I'm targeting 1 at each cultist. That is a 3 plus 5, so 8.
8. Ouch. The remaining cultists drop.
Would you mind terribly taking a step south?
I do not. I will move south 1 for my buddy back there.
Thank you. Much appreciated.
After that, we're going to go to the BlindOracle and see what that southernmost step was about.
I'd like to move on the diagonal behind the wizard. Hide action from the green toad. Green legally distinct the enemy. 32 to hide.
Yeah, that'll do it.
Then I'm going to shoot green legally distinct the enemy. Halfling luck is going to trigger.
Sure it is.
Wow.
Did you double click a 1?
That was trip ones.
Trip ones?
Oh,
Oh boy, that's 1 in 8,000. All right, yeah, that's a miss.
As an 11, that's a crit miss. Yeah, we just moving on with my life there.
After that, we're going to go to the restricted.
we'll move diagonally to be adjacent to the legally distinct red enemy. And then I will swing with my hammer for a 23 to hit.
23 will connect.
That will be 3 bludgeoning and 8 radiant damage. End turn.
Ow.
I think I've got 60 to the green guy. I think it's counted right.
You do not. You have 70 to the enemy.
I'll aggravate for the fighter.
You're going for the red guy.
Yep.
He could bounce out towards the green guy. Give him the distance later.
Is that what you're going to do, or are you going to do something else?
I'll keep the cover because of the ranged attack. I don't want him shooting the owl.
After the owl are the frogs. Chaos Frog in the south is going to regenerate. He's going to go after the fighter. He's going to bite in 2 claws. Here's the bite. 18 to hit you with the bite.
Fail.
Okay. 2 claw attacks. 12 to hit and 8 to hit.
Nope.
Green, legally distinct enemy. He's going to regenerate at the start of his turn. Going to move 2 forward, shoot 2 balls of fire at the wizard.
Goodness gracious.
First shot, nat 1. Second shot, second nat 1. And we're going to try to survive. After that, we're going to go to Fear No Equal.
Advance to the far side of the red traffic light.
You know red means stop, right?
That is a 25 to hit, reroll damage, for 13 damage. Second attack, no advantage. 19 to hit for 15 damage.
You good there?
Yeah, I don't have the space to run up and jump, so I'll stay where I am.
After the Fear is the AzureWolf.
Oh, this is simple. 1 slot on the wand to cast 3 missiles at him for 10 per missile.
So you're going to do 30 damage.
Yep.
Big missile.
It's a really big missile. After the AzureWolf is the BlindOracle.
We're going to hide from the legally distinct green extraplanar antagonist. I'm never saying that all again in one sentence. 18.
18 will hide from a legally distinct extraplanar antagonist.
Halfling luck triggers again.
God.
Is a 24 hit
24 connects.
for 27 points of damage. That is turn.
That dude's got some life.
After that, restricted.
Gonna do the same thing as last turn and take a swing with my hammer on the legally distinct red adversary. That'll be a 13 to hit. I think I missed.
13 misses, yep.
End turn.
After that, we're going to go to the owl.
Yeah, I think I'll aggravate the red guy again for the fighter.
And then we're going to go for the frogs. Chaos Toad, red. He's going to start his turn by regenerating. He's going to take a bite towards the fighter. Nat 1. Then he's going to take 2 claw attacks at the fighter. 8 is going to miss, but the 23 will probably hit.
Indeed.
Take 10 points of piercing damage. You're a humanoid, so give me a DC 14 Constitution save.
18 plus 7 is a 25.
So you are not infected by Chaos Frog disease. Green guy is going to regenerate at the beginning of his turn. Green, legally distinct traffic light, is going to throw 2 bolts. We're going to throw the first bolt of fire at the wizard. He's going to miss with a 9. He's going to take the second shot at the wizard. Miss with a 13. Then we're going to take a running jump and cross this gap over here. Land over on that side. And then we're going to go on to the fear.
Attack on the southern frog. 16.
16 hits.
Didn't think he was that much lower than the others. It is 15 damage. Second attack. For 18.
Yep.
Reroll damage. For 10. He's still around.
He's still around.
We're going to suss out the attack of opportunity just because. 1 step to the northwest, and then I'm going to take a running jump, and that's where he's going to take the swing at me.
17 to claw you as you walk away.
And a 17 is a miss. That is it for me.
After that, we're going to go to the AzureWolf.
Okay, he's still in range, so let's spend one more slot on that wand to fire again. Not max this time, it's 9 per missile.
9 per missile, 27.
Then I would like to move 3 to the southeast and then over to the east a little bit more.
After that, we're going to go to BlindOracle.
We're going to move behind the wizard, hide from the green legally distinct neutral evil extraplanar entity. 25 to hide, 15 to hit.
15 is a miss.
Perfect. That's my turn.
After the BlindOracle, we go to the restricted.
I will take another swing at Tifford the Big Red Toad. That is a crit.
Sounds like that'll hit.
Yeah, that'll be 12 bludgeoning and another 6 radiant damage.
Well, he survives the bludgeoning, but not the radiant.
Poor Toad. And with my movement, I can jump that gap.
If you have a strength in excess of 15, then you can jump the gap.
I don't think I have that.
And only has 25 move speed.
So you probably want to walk up 1 and then prep for next turn.
Yeah, that's what I'll do. Alright, end turn.
After the restricted is the owl.
Question, the bridge, does it have a cover that he could duck behind?
The bridge does not have a cover.
Alright, then I can't really fly down to hide him either. Yeah, let's move him behind the fighter and dodge.
After the owl is the frog. Frog's going to start its turn off by regenerating. Frog's going to line up a shot on the fighter. 23 to hit your fighter.
That'll hit.
17 fire damage. Second shot as it hurls flame at you. 19 to hit
That'll hit.
for 7 damage.
Oh.
And then after that, we're going to go on to the fear.
I will advance to the east 6 spaces. And I've got a clear line of sight on him, right?
Yeah.
All right. We're going to use the Circlet of Blasting to cast Scorching Ray, since I'm still a ways away from the color-coded, morally ambivalent enemy.
For the record, I like Fear's new descriptor of color-coded, morally ambivalent entity.
That is an 11 to hit. First one's going to miss.
Yep.
8 to hit is going to miss.
Yep.
And another 8 to hit. All 3. I'm not very good with this Circlet of Blasting.
So anyways, you didn't start blasting?
No, I started blasting. It's just, that was all.
After that, we're going to go to the AzureWolf.
Let's use up one more charge on the wand here. That is 8 on the die, so that's what, 24?
You good?
I'm all good.
BlindOracle.
Unfortunately, the legally distinct green entity has slipped beyond my range, so I'm going to have to step 1 diagonal. Let's go 1 south. In range, but no sneak. So let's go ahead and take the shot. 22 to hit.
22 hits.
14 points of damage. Let's go ahead and take the remaining movement and head south. That is my turn.
After that, we're going to go to restricted.
Using the halfling as a springboard, I will jump the gap.
Sweet.
Further action to dash the other 5 behind the fighter, and end turn.
After the restricted is the owl.
I think I'll go south of the cleric. Dodge.
After the owl is the frog. Frog's going to start its turn off by regenerating.
That's the most annoying part of this fight is the regeneration.
It's going to charge in there.
Beautiful.
Go after the legally distinct yellow plate-wearing entity. Start off with a bite. 10 to hit you.
Nope.
We're going to do 2 staff attacks. It's going to beat you with its staff, or attempt to at least. 23 to hit. Looks like the attempt was successful. Take 13 points of bludgeoning damage. Second attack, 14 to hit. That sounds like a miss.
Indeed.
After that, we're going to go to fear.
Since the deontologically unprotected individual decided to come up close, we're going to go ahead and beat on him.
Now you're just making up words.
I'm actually not. That's going to be a 22 to hit for 17 damage. Second attack, a 21 to hit for 14 damage.
That is lethal.
Okay, then.
Beautiful.
Report hit points.
62 out of 62.
73 out of 73.
83 out of 83.
You guys haven't taken any damage. 47 out of 94. I am at 50% exactly.
Any end of encounter actions?
I would not say no to the healing now.
Yeah, I will use Channel Divinity, Preserve Life, and give you those.
Channel Divinity Preserve Life only puts you up to half hit points, which is going to do nothing for him.
Yeah, that's right. It's only up to half. Let me look at my spells real quick and get back to you.
Anyone have any suggestions for restricted?
Oh, what is it? It's the 10-minute ritual spell that's a ton of healing.
Prayer of healing.
Don't have time for the 10 minutes. That's a short rest only.
That's what I figured.
Yeah, better than nothing. I'll do a Cure Wounds at the 4th level
Whoa.
It should be 4d8 plus 11. Go ahead and roll like I have.
for 25 hit points.
Any other end of encounter actions? Okay. The adventurers are able to destroy the seal of fire that is holding them onto this plane. 2 more seals to go, and they will be able to escape the plane of chaos.
Somehow I don't think there's only 2 encounters left.
Hit points, abilities, spells, items in hand, AzureWolf.
I have 62 out of 62 hit points. I have 2 slots left on my Wand of Magic Missile. I have 2 first level slots, 2 second level slots, 2 third level slots, 3 fourth level slots, and 2 fifth level slots. In hand is my spell book and Wand of the War Mage.
BlindOracle.
I am holding a +1 short bow. 73 out of 73 hit points. Sneak dice all day.
Restricted.
I have 83 of 83 hit points, 4 level 1 spells, 1 level 2 spell, 3 level 3 spells, 2 level 4 spells, and 2 level 5 spells, plus 2 Channel Divinity, and plus 1 Shield in Hand if I didn't say that already.
If you're no equal.
72 out of 94 hit points with a +1 Great Axe in hand. I have Second Wind, Action Surge, and Indomitable all available.
Monsters, abilities, items, and numbers. In this encounter, you're facing 2 blue Chaos Frogs and their 4 cultist friends. The blue Chaos Toads have damage resistance, they have natural armor, they have magic resistance, they regenerate, they bite, they claw, and if they claw you, they can inflict a disease that reduces your hit point maximum. Cultists have scimitars and dark devotion to their chaotic masters. They have resistance against charm and frighten. Terrain and effects. Terrain for this is fairly straightforward. There is water, and the water is straightforward as well as far as the direction that it's flowing, which is from the west to the east. It's a fairly strong current. When you enter the current, or if you start your turn in the water, you will have to make a DC 15 athletics check, and if you fail that, you'll be pushed downstream. If you drop off the edge, or if you wind up in the orange area some other way, you wind up out of the encounter. It's just air down there. You're on a water mode floating through the sky. If you wind up out there, unless you have some way of flying back into the encounter, you'll be essentially out of the encounter for the duration of it. Maybe that's an okay thing because you're a ranged person and you would prefer it that way. At the end of the encounter, you will be recovered by the airship you guys managed to steal. You can go laterally, you can go downstream as you wish, but if you wish to swim against the current, you have to make a DC 17 athletics check. There's some difficult terrain, there's some impassable terrain for tree stumps or for statues. Any questions about the terrain?
Are we allowed to refer to it as a Bifrost, or can we not?
I don't have any objections to that. That's probably old enough that you're good. Tactics, what do you guys think for tactics on this map?
Well, we got another fireball target. If these guys are tanky like in the last 2, especially that green one, probably would be worth dropping in Ancestor Guardians. Spirit Guardians is the spell for sustained DPS.
And we definitely want to concentrate them down. We can't afford to take reduced max HP, since I'm the only one who's going to get hit.
Yeah, they might go for me since I'll have probably Spiritual Weapon and Spirit Guardians running, but...
Easy peasy fighter squeezy. Let's get started. Go ahead and roll initiative.
Ooh, nice.
Anybody have higher than a 20?
23 for the rogue.
21, wizard.
Anybody have between a 20 and a 15?
20 for the fighter.
That doesn't sound right. You sure?
Honestly, a little confused. What am I supposed to do?
No worries. I got an 18 for the Chaos Toads, and you can follow their lead if you want.
I have a 16 on the Cleric.
What do you got for me, Owl?
11.
Rogue, kick us off.
We're going to open by shooting the southmost blue, legally distinct, morally ambiguous enemy. We are going to start by hiding behind the fighter. 24.
Yep.
21 to hit
21 connects.
for 35 points of damage. That's my turn.
After that, we're going to go to the wizard.
4 fireball. Dead center. DC 17 dex. You're gonna hate me. 40 damage.
Northern blue non-ordered amphibian. He's going to fail. Oh, no, he's got magic resistance. He's going to fail. He has fire resistance also, so he's just going to take 20. Northernmost cultist is going to pass, take 20 and die. Westernmost cultist is going to fail, take 40 and die. Easternmost cultist is going to fail, take 40 and die, and the southernmost cultist is going to pass, take 20, and die. Southern Chaos Toad is going to get magic resistance. He's going to fail, take 40, which he's going to resist and turn into 20.
It's all up to you guys.
That was the wizard. After that is the fighter.
I'm just going to advance 6 to the east and dodge.
After that, we go to the Chaos Toads. We're going to do the same thing. Advance 6 and dodge. After the frogs is the cleric.
Oh, they'd be just out of range, huh? That's unfortunate.
Not for them.
Yeah. I'll move 5 to the right, and I will use my last level 2 spell slot to cast Spiritual Weapon behind Blue's Toads. And then, of course, I will swing with my Spiritual Weapon. That'll be a 13 to hit.
13 is going to miss.
All right, dodge and end turn.
After the cleric is the owl.
Let's aggravate south one has the most damage, right?
Yeah.
So let's aggravate him for the rogue and tuck behind under the bridge.
After the owl, we're going to go back to the rogue.
Since I have advantage, I don't need to move for this shot. We're going to shoot the southernmost blue toad. 22 to hit.
22 hits, even with the cover.
25 points of damage. Step behind the wizard and hide as a bonus action. Halfling luck kicks in. 28 to hide.
After that, we're going to go to...
Ray of Frost. That is an 11.
That will miss.
Turn.
The fighter.
We're going to advance 2 spaces to the east, stand in front of Elwood here, and have a dance off. We're going to dodge.
After that, we're going to go to the frogs. Frog number 1 is going to regenerate. He's going to dash over to here. That's going to proc an opportunity attack from the cleric as he walks past you. You want to take it?
Yes, I will absolutely take that opportunity attack. That will be a 25 to hit.
Yep.
And it'll be 9 bludgeoning, followed by 7 radiant damage.
Got it. Second guy's going to regenerate also. He's going to do the same thing. Fighter, that'll proc from you.
27 to hit, reroll damage. 13 damage.
After that, we're going to go to the cleric.
Yes, they skillfully evaded my spiritual weapon. I will move 5 spaces to the west now, and I will cast Spirit Guardians. I will designate all friendlies, including the owl if I can see it.
Can't see it. It's underneath the bridge.
Okay, the owl will be affected then. And I will move the spiritual weapon 20 feet to the west as well. End turn.
After the cleric is the owl,
You're just going to stay under there and dodge.
then the rogue. Oh,
Oh,
the rogue is hiding behind the wizard.
yep, I'm affected.
Yeah, you're going to start your turn off in the zone because the cleric can't see you.
And I'm slowed.
Yeah, you're slowed. That's exactly right.
This is bad.
Yeah, that's real bad. I didn't even think about that.
You've got disengage, move, and dash.
I don't have enough movement to exit.
Not without procking twice.
You can disengage.
And dash, yeah.
You'd have to triple dash to get out of there.
Tell the cleric to move over a couple spaces.
That's what I'm about to do, yeah.
Start your turn off. Give me a wisdom save. Cleric, give me some damage.
Help! Passed the wisdom save at least. Rolled a 20.
There you go.
And that is, 16.
16 turns into 8.
First item of business is to disengage.
Okay.
Then we're going to go move through the north side toad square and then move 3 squares east.
You're moving at half speed, which is 12.5, but you're dashing, so that's 12.5, so that's 25, which is 5 squares. And then he'll be able to move off of you on his turn. Hopefully he'll do that. So that's the rogue's turn. Ouch. First blue on blue, appropriate, I suppose, for the blue chaos toads. Wizard, what do you got?
Gust of wind north.
After that, we go to the fighter.
I'm going to swamp over to my pike, run back west 6 spaces, and attack the southern... Dang, I miscounted. In that event, I will remain on my great axe and just dash the rest of the way.
After that, we're going to go to the frog people. Northern frog person's going to start his turn. He's going to regenerate.
He needs to make a strength DC 15.
Yeah, DC 17 wisdom saves from both of them.
Start off with the Spirit Guardians because it was cast first. He's going to get magic resistance and fail. So how much damage you got for me?
Oh, yeah, that's a good roll. 22 radiant damage. I rolled a 7 to 7 and an 8.
What's the DC of the Gust of Wind?
DC 13 strength save.
Passes. He's going to try to maul the wizard. Bite attack. 25 to hit you.
That'll connect.
Take 16 points of piercing damage. Are you concentrating, I think?
I am. And that is a 11.
11, so that'll pass. Second attack. Claw is an 18 to hit you,
That's not going to connect because I'm shielding.
and then a 14 to hit with the second claw.
Negative.
The southern slot is going to start his turn up and regenerate and give me some damage, cleric.
16 radiant damage.
Then he's going to throw down wizard again. See if we can burst that guy down. Here's the bite attack. Nat 20 to hit you.
No.
Take 16 piercing damage.
20 on the save.
And then here's the first claw. He's going to get a 23 to hit you with the claw. Take 12 points of slashing damage. Give me a concentration to begin with.
That is a 15.
Okay, that'll pass. Give me a DC 15 Constitution versus Chaos Toad Disease.
That's another 15.
And then the third attack with the claw, he's going to get a 24 to hit you.
Jeez, those guys are good on par today, aren't they?
They're going to get 12 points of slashing damage. Give me a concentration save, DC 10.
16.
And give me a DC 15 Constitution versus Chaos Toaditis.
That is an 18.
That's all my Juicy Chaos Frog. After that is the Cleric.
I will move 2 squares to the left to spare the halfling. Oh, he's safe now. And I will use my hammer to swing at the southern Chaos Toad for a 16 to hit.
16 will connect.
That is 5 bludgeoning and 8 radiant damage.
Still alive?
Move the spiritual weapon 20 feet to the west with my bonus action and end turn.
All right, after that, we're going to go to the Owl.
He's good where he is.
After that, we're going to go to the Rogue.
I want to confirm, is the space to the southeast of the fighter in the Spirit Guardians and a place where I can actually stand?
No to the first one, yes to the second one.
I would like to stand southeast of the fighter. I would like to take the hide bonus action. Come on, dice. I have a cat helping me who is deciding to knock everything everywhere, so we're going to digital dice.
Chaos Toad has roped in its ally, the Chaos Feline, which is to say, the feline.
30 to hide,
Yeah, probably.
22 to hit.
22 hits.
That's what we like to call big damage. 31 points of damage.
That is lethal. The Chaos Toad drops.
Elwood.
Poor Toady.
That's my turn.
After the Rogue is the Wizard.
I think the smartest move is to disengage. Get out of range. It's the wind fan that's going to be the problem because that's going to move with me.
Could dismiss it.
Yeah, I think that's what it...
After the Wizard is the Fighter.
Advance to the north 1 space. Attack with my great axe. It's crit for 24 damage. Second attack. It's a 17 to hit.
Yep.
14 damage. Action surge. 22 to hit. 17 damage. Final attack. 24 to hit, 11 damage. I will go ahead and pop my second wind for 15 healing.
You haven't done that already? Sounds good. After the Fighter is the Chaos Frog. Chaos Frog's going to regenerate.
And also make a DC 17 wisdom save.
He's going to fail. What do you got for damage?
6 radiant damage. I rolled great this time.
More benefit of killing the Cleric. More likely to kill the Fighter. I'm going to go for the Cleric. 11 to hit you with the bite.
That's a miss.
16 to hit you with the first claw.
Also a miss.
12 to hit you with the second claw.
And still a miss.
After that, we're going to go to the Cleric.
I will move my spiritual weapon to striking distance of the bad guy. Be a 20 to hit.
20 will connect.
That will be 7 force damage. For the regular hammer, that will be a 25 to hit.
Yep.
8 bludgeoning and another 8 radiant damage.
8 and 8 is 16. Exactly its hit points. It's going to drop.
Yay.
Excellent.
And there goes Jake.
I don't know. Try not to ask.
They're blue.
I get it.
Report hit points remaining.
65 of 73.
4.
4. Okay.
You came close.
That's closer I've ever come for you.
87 of 94.
83 of 83.
Anybody have any pre-rest actions they wish to take?
How about one of those channel divinity thingies?
I'll get you up to half hit points with my preserve life. I don't think anyone else is below a half.
Wizard, what's your max?
62 to 31.
27, so there's 23 on the table.
Any other pre-rest actions? All right, then we're going to go on to hit dice. This is the final short rest, so if you got hit dice, you might as well spend them.
2 hit dice for 7, bringing me to 94 of 94.
Jake and Elwood, Blues Brothers. Okay.
He gets it.
6 for 32.
Rogue spending 2 hit dice. That brings me over, so I'm back at the cap of 73 of 73.
Post-rest actions. Anybody doing any post-rest actions?
Arcane recovery for the wizard. Using to get 1 third level slot back and 2 first level slots.
Okay. The adventurers have traveled to the water moat to smash the water seal, smashing the second of the 3 seals that they need to escape this realm. Then we're going to hop on the airship and head over to the third one, the earth moat, to smash a seal that they're going to find there. Hit points, abilities, spells, items in hand, rogue.
+1 short bow in hand, 73 out of 73. Hit points.
Wizard.
62 out of 62. 2 charges left on my wand of magic missiles. 3 first level spell slot, 2 second level spell slots, 2 third, 3 fourth, 2 fifth. In hand is my Wand of the War Mage and Spellbook.
Fighter.
94 out of 94 hit points. Great Axe +1 in hand. Second Wind, Action Surge, and Indomitable all available.
Cleric.
83 out of 83 hit points, 2 Channel Divinity, 4 level 1 spells, no level 2, 2 level 3 spells, 2 level 4 spells, and 2 level 5 spells remaining, +1 shield in hand.
Monsters, abilities, items, and numbers. This encounter has 3 red Chaos Toads. Red Chaos Toads have magic resistance and regeneration. They can bite, they can claw, they can infect you with Chaos Toaditis. Cultists are chaff that run around and help people. They have dark devotion. Cult fanatics have daggers, so they can multi-attack with those. They're probably not going to want to do that, though. They can cast Hold Person and Spiritual Weapon. They can also inflict wounds, cast Shield of Faith, and command terrain and effects. So this encounter has difficult terrain spread all around the map, very difficult to maneuver around here. That's what the yellow section is. The orange section and the red section have a couple of things in common. What they have in common is that it's a 60-foot drop. If you land into the water, which is the orange sections, you can survive and take no damage, you're just fine. But there's no way back out of that because it's into another moat, recoverable by the airship at the end of it. If you fall into the red sections, that's onto rock. So that'll be 6d6 points of falling damage if you drop onto those areas. Now, assuming you survive, it will be recoverable after the encounter. Any questions about terrain?
A question about line of sight. Can I see out of the bush to the north of the party?
Yes, you can see out of it.
Perfect, that's what I want to know. The plan is to walk into the bush, hide in the bush, and shoot out of the bush.
What do you guys think for tactics in this fight?
A lot of people gathered up, so AoE is always fun. The big red toads don't seem to be too much of a threat by themselves, but they're still toads.
Want to keep them off the squishies if possible.
Yep.
No other thoughts? Let's go ahead and roll initiative. Anybody have higher than a 20? Anybody have between a 20 and a 15?
18 on the owl.
Anybody have between a 15 and a 10?
14 on the lizard.
Rogue has a 10.
Anybody have between a 10 and a 5?
Fighter has a 9.
Chaos Toads have a 7.
I have a 5.
Owl, you're up first.
Fun. Yeah, let's move him up to just underneath that chain to the northwest.
Then on to the AzureWolf.
Oh, really? 4 fireball?
I don't think we need to hold on to those high-level spell slots either.
Nope, let's upcast this bad boy.
So you're going to drop a fireball in the middle. That'll hit everybody. Tell me about it.
5th level? DC 17 dex, 36 plus 5, 41.
41 or 20. Westernmost Chaos Toad is going to fail. He's going to take 41. He resists fire, so he's going to take 20 instead. The northernmost Chaos Toad is going to pass, so he's going to reduce down to 20. Then he's going to resist the 20, so he's only going to take 10. The southernmost Chaos Toad is going to fail, so he's going to take 20 as well. Western Cultist can't live, so he's going to fail and take 40. The Eastern Cultist can't live, so he's going to fail and take 40. The Cult Fanatic is going to fail and take 41, which is lethal. That's a fireball. What else you got?
I'm good.
After that is the BlindOracle.
So we're going to move northeast 1 square, north 1 square. That's all my movement, if I'm doing my math correctly. Bonus action to hide, 32.
32 will hide, yeah.
And then we will shoot the southernmost slad has most damage on it. 22 to hit,
22 connects.
26 points of damage. That's turn.
After the BlindOracle is the Fear.
Advance to the northeast directly. We'll go ahead and dodge right there.
After that, we're going to go to the Chaos Toads. Chaos Toad is going to start his turn by regenerating. Is going to run to there. He's going to make an athletics check to try to push you off the edge. Go ahead and make an athletics or acrobatics to resist him.
16.
Cool. He got a 4, so that's going to fail, but he's got 3 attacks total, so he's got 2 more coming. Here's the second one. He's got a 9.
26.
Okay, and the third one, I've got a 7.
17.
He's going to move over so his friend will have an opportunity as well. This guy's going to regenerate at the start of his turn. The guy's going to move to there. He's going to attempt the same thing. He gets a 20.
12.
You're going to back up 5 feet, and he's also spent all of his movement, but this guy has not. This guy's going to regenerate at the start of his turn. He's got a 15 to do the same thing.
13.
13, and you're in the drink. Luckily, you're not going to take any damage, but you're out of this encounter for now. That's all of my guys. So after the frogs is the cleric.
So I can see everyone except for the fighter right now?
That's right, because the rogue is not hiding.
I'll cast Spirit Guardians using go with a 4th level spell slot, and then I'll move 1 tile up. And I'm not a big fan of water as a dwarf, so I'll probably stay right there.
Stay there. Interesting. Okay. After that, we're going to go to the owl.
Let's move in, I think if I remember right, the western one has the most damage.
In the northeast has the most damage on him.
Fly in, aggravate him for the rogue, and get out of dodge.
After that, we're going to go to the AzureWolf.
That one that's north of the fighter, I'm going to target with magic missile, level 4. Ooh, 5 for each missile, so 10.
Okay, he'll take 60. He won't like it, but he'll take it. You good there?
Yes, for now.
After the AzureWolf is the BlindOracle.
So we're going to rinse and repeat. Hide bonus action, 30.
Yep.
We are going to shoot the the same red toad we shot last time. 24 to hit?
Yep.
Ugh. 23 points of damage.
You good?
Yeah, I think so.
Fear, it's 60 feet up. Do you have any way of ascending?
I mean, I can climb, but other than that, no.
No, it's floating. There's no handholds. Anything you want to do on your turn? Any actions you want to take? Tread water for a while?
Yeah.
I got you.
Frogs. We can dash into that. Oh man, I do not like that damage. This guy's going to regenerate and jump in there with his dash action.
The one on the bottom entered my area, so he has a DC 17,
He's going to fail his wisdom save.
21 radiant damage.
He's going to regenerate at the start of his turn. These guys are going to move to here and dodge. This guy's going to regenerate at the start of his turn, move here and dodge. Those are my frogs. After that is the restricted.
I'll do a spiritual weapon at the 3rd level, immediately to the right of my Deuterino.
You get the big one.
Oh yeah. And then we're going to make a swing with the spiritual weapon. That will be a 25 to hit.
25 connects.
6 force damage. And then I am going to dodge, and I will move up and to the right, provoking the opportunity attack.
He'll get a nat 20.
And that was with disadvantage, right?
Good catch. He's going to get a 21.
Still a hit.
9 points of piercing damage.
That is a 10.
For your concentration save, then give me a DC 14 Constitution save versus Chaos Frogitis.
An 11 against the itis.
Chaos Frogitis, Revenge of the Chaos Frog.
Rolled really poorly on both of those. Managed to get at least one of them. Probably the more important one, honestly.
A human host can carry Chaos Frog egg to turn, and it forms into a Chaos Frog tadpole. In a 24-hour period before giving birth, the host starts to feel unwell. Its speed is halved and has disadvantage on attack rolls, ability checks, and saving throws. At birth, the tadpole chews its way through the vital organs and out of the host's chest, killing it in 1 round.
Oh, that's no good.
So that's a disease you're currently infected with.
And how do I get rid of that?
The regular ways of getting rid of disease.
AKA not right now.
Lesser Restoration will do it. That's it for the restricted turn.
Yes.
On to the owl.
I'd like to fly next to the fighter, if I can. Perfect.
You good?
Good.
AzureWolf.
Going to cast fly through my owl.
When you cast a spell with a range of touch, yep, absolutely. Your familiar can deliver the spell as if it had cast the spell. Your familiar must be within 100 feet of you, check, and it must use its reaction check to deliver the spell. Can I assume you're casting it into the fighter?
Correct.
Anything else?
That's it for me.
After that, we're going to go to the BlindOracle.
Hide bonus action. We're going to shoot the red frog, the southern one. 26 to hide,
26 hides.
29 to hit.
Yep.
32 points of damage.
No movement.
I would like to move 1 west. Done.
After the BlindOracle is the Fear. Fear, you got a 60-foot move speed.
All right, back in the fight. I'm going to come up and position to the east of the descriptorily deficient, ethically extraneous, and immolation irrelevant.
Wow, that was impressive.
Let's go for some attacks. That's going to be a 13. That's a no.
13 is not going to hit.
20 to hit. Reroll the damage.
Yep.
For 12 damage.
After the Fear, we're going to go to the Frog People.
Yay, wisdom saves.
He's going to regenerate at the beginning. He's going to make a wisdom save. DC 17. He's going to fail. Give him some damage.
21 radiant damage.
He's going to step forward and attack you thrice.
All with disadvantage.
Oh boy. Oh well, here we are. First one's a bite. 16 is going to miss. Second one's a claw. 10 is going to miss. Third one's a claw. And a 9 is going to miss. All right. This guy is going to start his turn off and regenerate. Give me some damage. He fails his save.
16 radiant damage.
He's going to back up. No point in pushing you because you're flying, so let's just attack. First one is a bite, and that'll do 16 to hit. Second one's a claw. That'll be a nat 20.
No.
Kindly take 8 points of piercing damage, fighter, and give me a DC 14 Constitution save.
21.
21, you passed. Third guy is going to start his turn off in the zone. He's going to regenerate.
Be 17 radiant.
He's got magic resistance. He's going to fail and take the 17, and then he's going to walk out of the zone. We're going to throw the first bite against the wizard. That'll be a 15 to hit your wizard.
Shielding.
After that, we're going to throw the claw at the rogue. 11 to hit you,
Miss.
and a nat 1 with the second one.
Miss.
After that, we're going to go to the restricted.
We'll move the spiritual weapon 3 tiles to the left to border the enemy frog, and we'll make a swing with it. 21 to hit.
Yep.
For a whopping 6 force damage. And then I shall take the dodge action and move 1 tile to the southwest. Will that get the other frog in my radius?
It will not put this frog in your radius. You want another tile?
Yeah. Provoking the opportunity attack.
This guy gets a nat 1 to hit you as you walk away from him.
Aha. End turn.
After the restricted is the owl.
Let's fly up there and let's aggravate the one for the Fighter?
11 squares will get you there. You want 1 square away.
Yes, please.
After that, we're going to go to the AzureWolf.
I don't like this guy being on top of me. Magic Missile, level 4.
Okay. Another 6 bolts to the face.
So it's 3, so 8.
And 8 times 6 is going to be 48 to the dome. This guy's going to drop. What else you got?
I'm good.
After the BlindOracle is the BlindOracle.
Sure, we'll take the hide action where we are. 21 to hide.
That'll do it.
We are shooting the one closest to us. Oh, there's the crit.
Find that stock full of dice. 12d6 later.
Not that many. It's not that many. I'm telling you. 54 points of damage.
54. Not that many, he says.
I rolled well.
Nukes that guy.
That's my turn.
After that, we're going to go to Fear No Equal.
Finishing up on the last guy. Move me 1 step to the west, please. Just keep him from pushing through. Attacking with advantage. That'll be an 18 to hit
Indeed it is.
for 12 damage. Second attack is a 16 to hit
That does indeed hit.
for 13 damage.
13 damage. 1 hit point in a dream, baby. After that, we're going to go to the Frogman. Frogman's going to regenerate, and then he's going to take his swipes at the fighter. Bite attack, 16 to hit you.
That'll miss.
Claw attack, 11 to hit you, certainly will miss. And a 10 to hit you with a second claw will also miss.
Well, good news on the dream.
After that, we're going to go to Restricted.
We'll end concentration on the Spirit Guardians, and then we'll move directly to the tile southwest of the fighter, because I can't go any further, and utilize an action to use Sacred Flame DC 17 Dexterity save on the Red Frogman.
He's got resistance and +1. He gets a 7 to dodge that.
Well, he just took 13 radiant damage.
Well, after his regeneration, he had 11, so now he's going to drop.
Yay!
Nice.
Report hit points.
62 out of 62.
73 of 73.
86 out of 94.
74 out of 83.
Any end of encounter actions.
I am going to use a 3rd level spell slot to use Less Restoration on myself, getting rid of the evil frog tadpole.
Sounds good.
I will also use the Pearl of Power to get 1 level 3 spell slot back.
The adventurers smash the 3rd and final seal, the Seal of Earth, that is preventing them from traveling back to their native plane. And with that, they are able to traverse the multiverse, making their way back to the plane that they know and love, into the waiting arms of a extraplanar guardian who's going to try to stop them from bringing whatever chaos and disruption that they have brought from the chaos plane into this one.
It's a friend.
The friend doesn't think so. That's what we're going to fight next time.
Hmm.
Hit points, abilities, spells, items in hand.
62 out of 62 hit points. 2 slots left on the Wand of Magic Missiles. 2 first level slots, 2 second level slots, 1 third level slot, 1 fourth level slot, 1 fifth level slot. In hand is my Wand of the War Mage and my spellbook.
73 out of 73 hit points, holding a +1 short bow.
86 out of 94 hit points with Second Wind, Action Surge, and Indomitable all available, with a Great Max +1 in hand.
74 out of 83 hit points. I have all 4 level 1 spells, no level 2 spells, 1 level 3 spell, 1 level 4 spell, 2 level 5 spells. I have expended my Pearl of Power, and I have both Channel Divinity.
Monsters, abilities, items, and numbers. An extra-dimensional guardian, commonly referred to as a Deva, has noticed your incursion back into your normal plane. The Deva isn't willing to listen to reason and is going to try to fight you to prevent any chaotic corruption that you've brought from Limbo back onto this plane. The Deva has multi-attack, so it can attack with a mace, but it's an angelic weapon, which means when it hits with the weapon, it does an extra 4d8 radiant damage. It also has the ability to heal. It can touch itself or any other creature and heal for 4d8 plus 2 hit points, curing of it of any curse, disease, poison, blindness, or deafness. It can change shape, but I've never found those to be very helpful. It has magic resistance, and it has innate spell casting, allowing it to detect evil and good, commune, and raise dead. I don't see any of those being helpful in this fight. They are resistant to radiant, bludgeoning, piercing, slashing from non-magical attacks, and they are immune to charm, exhaustion, and fright. One of you might find this interesting. They have a passive perception of 19.
Good to know.
They can also fly 90 feet. Anybody else here have the ability to fly?
Yes.
Fighter can fly 60 feet as long as the wizard maintains concentration. Terrain and effects. This terrain is mostly either impassable terrain for the standing stones or difficult terrain for the cliffs. There's no climb check required. It's just difficult terrain to scramble up those. It's trivially easy to jump down. A couple of trees to hide in, difficult terrain to move around those, but that's what you guys are looking at for terrain.
How does the scrambling up the difficult terrain interact with having a climb speed?
No climb speed required. You climb at regular speed, so you would be able to move over these at normal speed.
Okay. Perfect.
Tactics. What do you guys think for tactics for this one?
My Spirit Guardians is way less effective than it would be because he's resistant to radiant damage, so that's fun.
After the discussion we gave Saracen last time about flight tactics, I assume that we are going to have to deal with this guy in the air all the time.
The difference here being is that he also doesn't have a large cone, and if he wants to hit people, he has to go do it physically.
Absolutely, yeah.
If I need to upcast fly, I can on a couple of targets.
This guy is not, as far as I can tell, resistant to force damage, however, which means I think we can probably just sit down at the bottom, and you can just pummel him with maximum magic missiles.
Well, is that or I can try to banish him.
Ooh, that'd be fun.
I mean, yeah, that is going to rely on a save or suck roll.
Yeah, it is, but it's so worth it if he pulls it off.
Oh, sure, yeah. But I don't think there's much we can do to limit him on that roll, and he's an extraplanar being. He's going to have a real good charisma save.
It's not charisma.
Banishment is against charisma. It's also a Deva. So
Yeah. Our solution might be sit the rogue and the wizard at the bottom of the pit and play air defense.
Can we send all three of you up in the air?
If he tries to go into the air, at least.
Yeah, I can just recast fly on all three of you.
You have to concentrate on fly, don't you? So you can only do one fly at a time.
if you upcast it as a 5th level, you can get 3 targets.
Ooh, fancy.
And that 5th level magic missile isn't worth a whole lot more than the 4th level anyway.
All right, let's do it then. Everybody roll initiative. Oh, buddy, you did it. You finally did it. You did it when it came through and it counted.
Oh boy.
Anybody have higher than a 20?
Not today.
23 for the Deva.
Oh boy.
Who's got between a 20 and a 15?
17 on the cleric.
15 on the fighter.
Who's got between a 15 and a 10?
12 on the wizard.
11 for the rogue.
What'd you get for the owl?
2.
Dave's going to kick us off with a 23. Dave is going to fly 90 feet, wind up over here, and try to smite the rogue. 15 to hit you with the mace.
Miss.
Second attack. 23 to hit you with the mace.
That will hit.
7 points of magical bludgeoning damage, followed by 16 points of radiant damage for a total of 23.
I'll use the reaction to half that.
Yeah, so take 11 instead. That's my action. At the end of the day, I am a single target monster. Up next is the cleric.
Shall use my bonus action and my last 4th level spell slot to cast Spiritual Weapon at level 4. We'll do it to the right of the rogue, and shall make a swing on the Deva. 22
22 will connect.
for a total of 7 force damage. My weapon isn't magical, and it does bonus radiant damage, so I think I will move next to the Deva and dodge. End turn.
After that, we go to the fighter.
I guess I'll move up above the rogue, to the north of the rogue.
To here, because that spot is taken by the Dave.
Yeah, it is, sorry. Can I occupy the same space as the owl?
Yes, it flies. You fly.
That's true. Actually, move me one space to the north of that. Making my attacks. This is magical great axe +1. That's a 24 to hit.
24 hits.
Reroll the damage. Boy, is that new ability coming in handy tonight. 12 damage. Magical slashing. And we're going to do a second one. 19 to hit.
A 19 connects.
For 9 damage. That is as low as I can go. That will do for... No, you know what? Let's action surge. Why not? We're in contact. It's not going to have a better opportunity. Next attack is 21 for 10 damage. And that is a critical miss.
Ouch.
After that, we're going to go to the wizard.
Level 4 magic missile.
So this will be 6 missiles.
3 plus 1, 4 plus 5, 9.
9 times 6 is going to be 54. Yeah, that's going to do work. Absurd amount of damage from a magic missile. Okay, after the wizard is the rogue.
As a bonus action, we'll disengage. Just move me back. Give me one more, just for the sake of... There we go. And then we're just going to shoot him. Ooh, crit fail.
Crit fails, you reroll. You got 2 ones.
No, I do roll. I forgot about Halfling Luck. Halfling Luck kicks in, and we get a 15. So not too much better.
15 is going to miss, unfortunately.
Yeah.
After the rogue, we're going to go to the owl.
Yeah, the fighter seems to be the melee guy here. So let's do advantage for him.
Advantage for the fighter, and then move away.
Yes, please.
After the owl is the Deva. Just because it has this ability and I want to use it to experiment with it. It's going to do Healing Touch. It's going to heal itself for 4d8 hit points. Oh, well that was quite useful. It's going to gain back 32 hit points, which is almost as high as I can possibly get. It is freed from any curse, disease, poison, blindness, or deafness. None of which apply, but that's my action. After the Deva is the cleric.
Alright, same thing as before. That's a 19 to hit
Yeah, that'll hit.
for 12 force damage. And dodge, end turn.
After that, we're going to go to fighter.
First attack is a 19 to hit
Hits.
for 15 damage. Second attack is a 17 to hit. I imagine that doesn't land.
17 is exactly what you need.
For 9 damage.
After the fighter's the wizard.
Cone of Cold. Con DC 17.
Magic resistance, so I have a save against this. +4, so I'm going to get a 20 that will resist.
And that is 40 damage.
40 damage, so I'm going to take 20 of that. After the wizard is the rogue.
Let's try this again. 28 to hit this time
28 hits.
for 35 points of damage.
35 points of damage is lethal. The Deva disappears back to its original plane of existence.
Yay!
The adventurers have returned back to the prime material plane. They can continue adventuring here. The magic items that they gathered from this dungeon are 5,600 gold pieces, which comes out to 1,400 gold pieces each. They have collected a Staff of the Python, a Brooch of Shielding, a Potion of Fire Giant Strength, and a +1 dagger. In my mind, logical distribution is the Staff of the Python goes to the cleric, the Brooch of Shielding goes to the wizard, Potion of Fire Giant Strength goes to the fighter, and the dagger +1 goes to the rogue. This isn't necessarily the distribution you guys have to do, but that's the one that makes sense to me.
Works for me.
Fine by me.
Next dungeon is not having had enough of the planes, the adventurers are going to go across the elemental planes, those of fire, earth, water, and wind, fighting the denizens that occur there. All manner of jinns and genies and primal elementals of all different sorts. So by tradition, I know it's going to be tricky, but tell me what your thoughts are. What was the easiest encounter?
Ooh. The second one?
First or second?
The first one was a single Chaos Toad of Death.
No, I think that second one.
I would note we took no damage whatsoever on the second fight.
Oh, really?
0 damage the entire time.
Yeah, probably the second one, honestly. We only used one fireball the whole time as well.
Yeah, we should have smoked that one. Literally and figuratively.
So this one, you had a whole bunch of resources at your disposal. Basically, the entire gas tank was a single target encounter, but you thought the second one was easier?
Yeah.
We still had those resources for the last one because the second one and all the others did not take them.
Yeah, I suppose that's true. Well, but the last one actually didn't require that many resources either. It was like a 2-round fight.
Yep.
What was the hardest encounter?
That one with the green one, I think, was the longest one. Was hardest? No, but
That went on forever.
Yeah, but it wasn't hard by any means.
exactly. It wasn't hard, it was just long.
I think if we had concentrated fire on the red one, because there's legally distinct Battletoads, and they're regenerating, if we had just concentrated fire on the one that we had access to, and then pursued the other one, it would have been a little bit quicker, but only to the tune of maybe a round. They're very tanky.
I think the hardest was probably where the fighter got pushed off into the water. I would say was probably the hardest just because we had to not only manage like our health but also positioning so we didn't get pushed off. That's why I didn't push forward and just stayed behind because I was mindful of my low strength and getting pushed in the water and then being unavailable for the rest of the fight.
This fight, one, it was, as far as actual enemies go, right, not including cultists, it had the most enemies for you to fight. 2, it had the most restrictive terrain of any of the other encounters.
In my opinion, the enemies weren't so much an issue as it was the terrain because we were also low in the initiative order, if I remember right. Like, we couldn't really move forward and reposition outside of our starting little area.
Yeah. This set of encounters, the map felt like our biggest challenge.
I definitely see that from your perspective. It's just like, oh, look, nothing to hide behind, nothing to hide behind, nothing to hide behind. Just one after another after another.
I feel like you are telling me you'd like me to quit the game. It's fine. I understand.
No, absolutely not. So I picked these because of the theme that I was going for, right? Like, this is an earth mode, this is a water mode, this is a fire mode. So that was very much what I was going for when I picked these. It just so happens that when you have a seal in the middle of a thing, people want to be able to see it. They don't want a bunch of things blocking line of sight around it. So
You don't want to hide your DHD?
yeah, and the other one is just like, oh yeah, it's difficult. You know, it's hard to hide things. Really? It's a prison. They want to be able to see you and what you're doing. Surprise, surprise.
Right? Yeah. But I just mean in general, right? Like, normally we have terrain that blocks our movement, or we have terrain that we can fall off of. I think this is the first time we have had terrain where it's like, well, if you mess this up, you're out of the fight. Or if you mess this up, you take significant damage, significant being defined as greater than 46 damage.
Yes and no. I would say that at this point, are you? So 66 damage, that's 21 damage. Who here would take 21 damage and then could use a preserve life? Nobody, right? The only person who's going to not like 21 damage is the owl, right? Everybody else is just like, oh yeah, 21 damage, that's just a regular hit at this level. So that was one element of it. And then 2, I was just like, at the point where the wizard can just cast fly to get anybody back up.
That's true.
The penalty is you're out of the encounter unless you can fly back. I'm like, yeah, but you're a 10th level adventurer. Requiring you to fly out of something is not the end of the world. So
Yeah, in a sense that moving forward and positioning where I did, I burned a full turn of the relevant enemy's attacks in exchange for no damage and a 3rd level spell and 1 turn of the wizard's attention. Not a great trade-off, but honestly not a very bad one, and considering I took 0 damage out of the whole affair.
I disagree. If you had an ability that this takes 2 actions and a 3rd level spell, and enemies skip their entire turn, I think everybody would take that.
Mostly. Our wizard was also our big DPS threat in many of these fights, so wasting one of his turns is a little more expensive, but...
Yeah, if they were grouped appropriately and I had Spirit Guardians up, I could do some decent damage, but they can just walk out of that or avoid me as well. The last guy, he was resistant to Radiant, so I was like, well, there goes my trick.
I think in my entire 5th ed career, that's the second time I've used that move through the familiar. I always forget about it, and I'm just like, oh yeah.
It is good stuff.
It's the very last line of that entire wall of text that's find familiar, and people just forget about it.
Probably the most important line.
I disagree in that if you're going to have it deliver touch attacks, you're going to want it delivering to the enemy, which means you're going to have to be proximate to the enemy, which is problematic, right? Because the enemy is just like, well, okay, well, I'm going to take my action and kill the creature. So the flyby requires that the creature move in, use the help action, and then move out so that it doesn't take retaliation on the back end. If you wanted to deliver spells with a touch range, it has to end its turn and wait an entire round next to the enemy, which is not conducive to long life for a familiar. But if you're using it to deliver a helpful spell like a cure or a fly or something else, then it's fantastic. On the subject of Spirit Guardians, this is the first time we've had a blue-on-blue situation with the Spirit Guardians. How helpful do you see it being in the future? Do you think you're going to continue to want to cast it in every single fight? I mean, obviously you don't cast it in every single fight because not every single fight calls for it. Do you think it's going to be good in every one of them, or do you think something is changing now, or is that just a mistake that it could have been avoided with more careful preparation?
Halflings are small and easily forgotten about, so...
We 100% could have avoided that. If I had realized that was coming, I just would have not hid after that.
I say it's mostly my fault for forgetting that you were hidden, but Spirit Guardians is like one of the spells that spikes Cleric up to be incredibly powerful on its own. Because, I mean, with Spirit Guardians and Spiritual Weapon, I can just dodge every turn and still have consistent DPS. There are not many other classes that can do that. So it will still be a core, just need to be more mindful of making sure I can actually see my friends when I cast it. So being high in the initiative order and casting at the start of an encounter where I may need it would be better than waiting till later in the order when people are hidden or scattered.
The 2 times, I think, where we had challenges with enemies getting up in on the squishies, leaving out the last fight, but the 4th and 5th encounter, both times we wound up, as we often do, crammed into our entrance space with a limited path forward, and one of those is when we had our blue-on-blue. Mm-hmm. And I think that's largely the issue, is when you're in close like that, and people don't have the map availability to reposition, that's pretty much the only time that it would really happen.
Yeah.
Like, if the rogue had other places to hide or other places to go, it wouldn't have been as much of an issue.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. The very linear nature and open nature of these maps meant that my best play was to hang back by the wizard and use the wizard as an awkward cardboard cutout occasionally.
Yeah, which is what we did really well in that fight that drug out for so long. I kept moving, trying to position for you.
That was great. From a rogue DPS perspective, these were weird fights. Like, these were just weird fights. They were fine, they were fun. The rogue could do exactly what it says on the tin, but I'm sitting there going, if you were a vanilla rogue, or a rogue that was not a halfling, and you had to try and hide behind things, this would have been nightmarish. Or you best hope you're a melee rogue, I think, at that point. This would have been awkward.
2 points there. One, if you're attacking an enemy that is on its own with none of your allies adjacent to it, you need advantage and not have disadvantage for you to get sneak on it. But if you're shooting at an enemy that is adjacent to one of your allies, as long as you don't have disadvantage, and even if you don't have advantage, you can still get sneak attack. It's just harder to hit, right? Because you don't have advantage.
Yeah.
Did that calculus come into your mind of like, let me go for this suboptimal shot where I'm going to get sneak attack, but I don't have advantage, and it might not be the focus target? Or should I bend over backward to try to get advantage and sneak attack on the focus target that is not next to my ally? How many times did you think maybe the non-advantage but still sneak attack shot might be worth it?
There were a couple times that calculus entered into my head. There was a couple of moments I was thinking actually about peeling off to shoot the red legally distinct Battletoad on the south of this map. And then the other time that popped up, the second encounter, there was a moment where I was thinking, well, I could muck about and try to pick off things.
Yeah, because you were here. I was thinking you were going to, it's just like, well, disengage back and then shoot him. You don't have the advantage, you don't have the hide, but you still have the sneak attack.
Which is fine, and neither nor. But by and large, it didn't ever really come to that. I felt like in most cases I could get advantage on the focus target and not expose myself to getting bad things happening to rogues trademark.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes is the answer to that question.
The first encounter, your tactics that I recorded, which were by memory because I forgot to take notes at the moment, were spank and tank. Think it went well?
Very.
I mean, there was a lot of tanking involved in that on my part, but, like, that's what I have all that HP for.
Yeah.
And since it was the first fight, like, that's a lot of damage to take early and not really know what's coming. You know, so I burned a couple of potions that, in retrospect, I really did not need to, but I did not know that at the time.
Mm-hmm.
That's the only sort of consequence that I regret, was like, probably could have taken the healing instead, but I didn't know at the time that we would breeze through most of the rest of this.
Second one, the tactics that I wrote down was fireball, because, you know, a lot of the tactics here are fireball.
Here's the answer to everything.
Seemed like it went pretty well. I didn't space them out well. I had the opportunity to space them out more than 40 feet away from each other, which I failed to take advantage of. So they could only clip 2 of them and the other guy would get away scot-free. So that was definitely a failing on my part. These guys have 33 hit points, which survives a standard level 3 fireball, but you're not throwing standard level 3 fireballs anymore, and you're an evoker, getting +5 to your total damage. Your average level 3 fireball is exactly their number of hit points, so they're not going to survive that. I think we have long passed the time of the humanoid. The next one was an interesting question. Fireball or shatter, and you went with shatter. Why not fireball in this one?
One of those resource things where we're just kind of like, maybe save it. But yeah, fireball would have done the deal here, and I had to use a magic missile on the 4 cultists on the second row.
As you noted at the time, these are CR 1/8 cultists. Even so, I think the shatter did for 4 of them, and the single dart from the magic missile did for 4 more. So I think even though a fireball could have got the job done, you know, we're still not even halfway through at this point. Probably worth getting the only use of shatter we're gonna get for the remainder of the dungeon, if not for the remainder of the campaign.
My dice weren't too great on that shatter.
Yeah, I suppose the opportunity cost there is a level 2 magic missile, which you're looking at 8.5, 17, 34 damage to a single target, or 8 spread out to a couple of targets. So a shatter would have to do, is it 2d8 or
3d8 for a regular, I believe.
13? Okay, so that's actually not bad. You'd have to hit 3 targets. 8 targets is actually pretty good opportunity cost there. Plus you're going to add a +5 on top of that, so it's actually going to do a lot more. And the fireball would have caught 2 more. Those would have not have survived. The other thing is shatter. Level 2s, you can throw magic missiles or you can throw shields, because you're really not going to throw it in large.
Yep, which I'm probably going to swap that out on the next one and put Hypnotic Pattern in for some crowd control. The upcast of the magic missile is worth it at this point for level 2s.
Magic missile is your go-to single target damage solution.
Oh, it's gross.
And your go-to multi-target damage solution.
God, it's so gross.
So you used Cone of Cold. It has a save for half damage, which Magic Missile doesn't. I ran the numbers on it. The expected value is 41 for a single target. When you throw saves in, it goes down to 29. Your absolute minimum damage on an equivalent level Magic Missile for a single target is 42.
Oh, that's great.
Your expected value is 54. Obviously, Cone of Cold's an AoE, and you only had a single target in this case, which is where the difference is. If you had a second target, Cone of Cold comes back into play.
Yeah, it was more of I just wanted to blast it.
Any single target DPS need, Magic Missile is probably the best value you will get for the remainder of a campaign.
Yeah, Magic Missile's pretty much just become my single target DPS.
If, you want to do chip damage to a number of targets like you did, it's your best multi-target option.
That's absurd.
No saves, no misses, hard to resist.
Pretty sure that nothing in the game has resistance to force damage, but I might be wrong on that.
There's an extremely small number.
The thing that has the least resistances is psionic damage. I think force is number 2 or number 3 in terms of least resisted.
The other thing that resists specifically Magic Missile is any first level wizard, because the spell Shield will just block all Magic Missile damage. It doesn't stop force damage, it stops specifically Magic Missile damage. If you're fighting a person who can cast Shield and you throw that at them, it all goes to naught.
Sure, but at that point we just trade off, and the wizard says, "Hey rogue, do me a solid and shoot the wizard." And I'm like, Sweet, bagging cloth, easy.
Or the wizard casts magic missile, the opponent goes, ha, I have a shield, and the wizard goes, ha, I have a counterspell. You don't have a second reaction, and then the magic missile gets through.
That seems a little overkill just to bag one wizard, but yeah, okay.
After that happens, you now know that he has shield and you don't use magic missile anymore. You use the rest of your toolbox.
Oh, he's probably not going to be alive.
I was going to say, because arguably, if you just threw a 5th level and a 3rd level spell and you did 54 damage, I think that's a reasonable trade on a single target. There's not a lot of single target damage spells.
That's not a great trade.
How much damage would you expect to do with a 5th and a 3rd?
I mean, a 5th and a 3rd just with Fireball is going to do more damage to a single target. Admittedly, you did suss out an extra 1st level spell out of him.
It depends entirely on what you're shooting, too. Like, let's be really honest.
Yeah, it's got to be somebody with a shield.
Yes. If you're using a 5 and a 3 to burn out a level 3 wizard who's just there to soak damage, not worth.
That's certainly true, yeah. Although, I don't know that a 3rd level wizard is going to soak anything. Right?
If you popped a 5th level enhanced magic missile on a 3rd level wizard, you've already made a mistake.
Yes, it's great, and it is absolutely the wizard's go-to bread and butter. I want to remove a piece from the table spell. I just also think there are other tools in the party's toolbox for dealing with things that would mess up the magic missile equation, and that's okay.
Here, talked about Fireball because there's a couple of enemies, so we always want to talk about Fireball. And
That's how you start a party.
Spirit Guardians versus the tanks. BlindOracle, turns out you were one of the tanks.
All right.
Focus targets. How effectively do you guys think you focus targets, and how important do you think focusing targets was in these encounters?
Very important to focus targets when you have enemies who regenerate.
Yes.
Yep.
How well did we do it? Other than 3, maybe? I think we were decent.
Yeah, I think it goes back to like what you said on the lava floor there, that if we focus that red one, we might have got an extra turn out of it, but I don't think it was going to come much more.
This one you thought you did decently. This one, good, bad, indifferent.
We did all right.
Yeah,
And this one.
same.
We focused the one on the far left pretty well, but the fighter got split off early and he kind of had to do his own thing. Didn't have too much choice in that one, though.
In the circumstance in which I can't get into melee with the preferred target because Spirit Guardians is in place, you divide your damage. But that's a melee problem.
Do you hold that you couldn't get into melee? Because you do have a pike, so you can stand outside the zone and stab them.
I do, but I don't think the question is pike, which is suboptimum for damage, or great axe, which is more optimum on a less optimum target. I think I'm still going to come out greater damage on the non-optimal target, and it also allows me to keep one of them from like getting in there and engaging on the squishies. I think it's just a matter of preference. Unless there's like a clear one of these guys is about to go down, I think it's probably closer to a toss-up.
Even if they regenerate, you still think that's true?
If they had stronger regeneration, I think that'd be true, but their regeneration was only like, 10 hit points per turn? That's not a lot.
I mean, if we were dealing with like the Death Toad, especially if we were dealing with like more than one of them, I think it would be more of a priority to get that focus in, even at the cost of just sort of soaking some damage and getting no progress on the other ones. But that's not what we were up against in this situation. We'd have to be at a higher level to be running against multiple of these guys.
Question about the pike. The pike is not magical, correct?
Correct.
Okay, so that means that its damage is null.
Nope, not against these guys.
Halved.
No. Deva resists bludgeoning, piercing, and slashing from non-magical attacks. Battle toads resist acid, cold, fire, lightning, and thunder.
I thought some of them resisted non-magic weapons as well.
No. All of them take full damage from any type of mundane weapon. Splitting your attacks between two enemies that regenerate is way worse than splitting your attacks between enemies that don't regenerate, because even at 10 hit points a round, if this combat lasts for 4 rounds, that's 40 hit points that the targets regenerate back. That's a fighter's entire turn. That's a rogue's entire turn. You're just buying more and more time, and that compounds as a geometric sequence. So if I lose an entire rogue turn, an entire fighter turn, well, that's actually another round of combat, right? So that's another 30 hit points that I've gained back. I think focusing is even more important, to the point where, okay, the pike throws 5.5 on average plus your modifiers, and the axe throws 7.5 plus your modifiers. So you're losing 2 points of damage per round around swinging the pike instead. A little bit more for accuracy because it's not a magic weapon. It doesn't get the accuracy bonus, so we'll call it 3 points every round. The opportunity cost there is 7, right? 10 that they're going to regenerate minus the 3 that you would be doing better with the axe if you're going against a suboptimal target.
Only if it reduces their lifespan by a full round.
If you do half the damage to the opponent, Wizard does half the damage to the opponent. That's going to reduce it by rounds. But if you guys are doing that to different targets, then it's going to extend it. So
I see what you mean.
And there's kind of a trade-off there as well with Spirit Guardians, right? Spirit Guardians does sometimes like 10 damage. I think it's doing a little bit more than just erasing their regeneration. Restricted, do you think that's worth it? I guess you also have mobility to take into consideration and blocking your allies from stealing your kills. How important is that?
That's extremely important. Honestly, I dropped the Spirit Guardians with the assumption that the fighter would not be a factor in the fight. I wasn't even counting on fly via the familiar. Even then, Spirit Guardians is consistent AoE damage. Like, I was hitting normally at least 2 targets with it that fight. So that was, 66 of damage total, which is a fair bit.
Yeah, and they're not likely to save.
They're weak to the save as well. So I think with the consistent damage I could get off with it, in that situation it was probably alright. Depending on what you're facing and, who you may be inconveniencing, you do got to factor in, like, the Spirit Guardians and stuff like that. And then, of course, I think that the pike flying over probably would have been more optimal, but this also wasn't, like, a difficult combat encounter. Like, even if they took out, the rogue or the wizard, which would be really unfortunate, we would still be able to kill them as the fighter and the cleric, because they could barely hit us.
I will note that in the pike problem is also the fact that I have to drop one of my weapons to swap to the pike, because I can't stow one and draw one in the same movement.
You can use actions and things, but that does take more time.
The fighter and the cleric ran up front. Was your intention to block the blue Battletoads from getting to the back line? And do you think you did that sufficiently or as sufficiently as you could? Or was there some failure of tactics in this fight?
I think it would have gone better if I had dropped Spirit Gardens earlier. I definitely should have put that at the start. That would have avoided the whole blue on blue, and it would have also effectively blocked the bridge off to them, because they'd have to expend a dash. I mean, they could still go through, but they, would have to eat up basically an entire movement's worth of movement just to get through Spirit Guardians.
Yeah, without Spirit Guardians in play, we can't choke that bridge. Not if they're willing to tank the opportunity attacks, and they very clearly are, because they've got tons of health, they regenerate. There's no way we can keep them off the squishies unless we can manage to block the bridge somehow. That's a very broad bridge.
Spirit Guardians would have been better played at the start there, but it still ended up working out.
Okay. I thought this was one of your guys' not as elegant solutions, shall we say.
No, it wasn't elegant at all, but we ultimately took very little damage throughout the entire fight.
Speak for yourself.
Wizard got pounded on here.
I had 4 life left.
That's right. You did have 4 life.
I would note that we tried to do the wind fan thing, and it just doesn't work. You really want it to work, and I really want it to work, and it's a DC 13.
It's worked on the snakes.
It's costing you an action here.
My action would have been to just disengage at that point and move, or try to knock it in the water, which I was hoping for the water thing.
This, I think, was just sort of a weird, disjointed fight, too. I think our initiatives were a little all over the place. I feel like it was just wide enough. It's like Fear said, right? They were going to take the oppies. That's how that was going to go. And then we had the weird blue-on-blue moment, which, man, Spirit Guardians is terrifying for a stunty. Holy cow.
Spirit Guardians is fantastic until you're facing it, right?
And I think it really drove home just how, obnoxious that was when Saracen's like, yeah, guys, the rogue is going to have to triple dash to get out of this thing.
Yeah, it was either triple dash or disengage and take another round of it, unless, the cleric wound up moving out of it. No, it's brutal. Brutal.
It was bad.
And I'm fighting that 6 encounters per dungeon. 1 dungeon every 2 months. It's awful. The 5th one, you had discussion about using AoEs because, of course you do. It's post-level 5. Keep them off the back line. Always good advice. And use the bush to hide. Bush seemed pretty effective.
Bush was great. 10 out of 10. Do love Sniper's Nest.
I think my only note here is, again, should have dropped Spirit Guardians a little bit earlier, but I think also I was waylaid by initiative order. I think I put it down on the first turn I could play, and by then the fighter was already in the water.
Yeah, because he ran up and then they ran up to him. But at least you didn't do any damage on that time. This one resists radiant damage, so you decided not to go with Spirit Guardians. At the end, when there's no reason to save your resources, even if it's only taking half damage, it's a wisdom save, which it's got +9 at, it's got magic resistance, so it's got advantage. It's rolling 2 dice, it needs an 8 on either one of them. And then even if it fails, it's only going to take half damage anyway. Do you still have a better spell spell for that slot, is dodging better at that point.
Yeah, I also had Flame Strike I was considering using. He didn't seem terribly threatening, and I can save that 5th level spell slot for a revive or something if something goes completely wrong. Because Flame Strike does half radiant damage as well. Basically, all of my resources except for Spiritual Weapon were radiant, so I didn't really have much.
You really got to wonder when you're up against an enemy that's resistant to everything you do. Maybe you're on the wrong side of this fight. I think resource question here isn't about spell slots, it's about action economy. Spirit Guardians, we have the resources for spell slots to burn, but it's just not the best use of your turn. Against dodge? No. There's probably something you can use. Even Banish is probably a better use of your turn than Spirit Guardians, because if it works, oh boy, it works.
Honestly, my consideration was that my spell slots were best off for any sort of support spells, healing, revive, anything like that, as opposed to trying to damage him, because I would have just not done very much damage with them when I could have significant impact by bringing somebody back into the fight if things go wrong.
This was a 2-round fight because of all the damage you guys were throwing. In that same amount of time, you could have thrown 4 banishes. It's got +9 to save, so again, it needs 8s on 2 dice. I just don't see it happening.
That's pretty unlikely.
So it's about 1 in 8.
So you're saying there's a chance? All honesty, Magic Missile the entire way would have been the smart move.
Okay, so we talked about Banish, air defense, and 3-target fly. It seems like that would only be a consideration if you used any of the fly tactics. Fly tactics,
I feel like this one was a little different because you couldn't just dive bomb us with something that could stay out of range.
The Diva has a 5-foot range, so he would always at least be taking oppies if he came into melee range.
Well, and now we've got air defense. Magic missiles are just such a ridiculous higher value now.
The new Patriot missile system.
I don't know that the fly tactics that we talked about are actually going to work. I'm interested to see what happens if we tried them in another dragon fight.
At level 8, it's rough. Upwards of that, it gets a lot less rough.
I don't think so. I think that I did the most damage I was going to do with the dragon at level. I think the tactics I used were the most effective.
I think that they're not germane to this discussion because the Deva has no ranged option. And if we fishhook the Deva, he's hosed.
Does the Deva have spells?
No offensive ones.
It's got Commune, Raise Dead, and Detect Good and Evil.
He can run away, but he can't really engage. Although he can still do what he did to us, which is high mobility, so there's no protecting the squishies in this circumstance.
Absolutely. That, I think, is the correct way to use it.
In this circumstance, then, huddling up and protecting the wizard by forcing him to engage everybody if he wants the wizard is better than, chasing him.
It's also important to remember that at this point, the rogue is less squishy, especially against things that are, I have one big hit. The rogue is like, great, cool, I turn that off.
And with your most recent constitution bump, you actually have a lot of hit points. Thoughts about the encounters? Did the theme make sense? Do you think that these encounters do or don't go next to each other? Any of them not make sense?
They all made enough sense, yeah.
I was a little disappointed in the repetitiveness of enemies, but, to be clear, that's not Saracen's fault. The fact that there is a lack of a breadth of enemies with a sort of internal consistency at upper levels. There aren't that many CR10 and CR8 enemies that all sort of align with each other, not the way there are at lower levels.
That is entirely Saracen's fault. He's put specific constraints on the way encounters are built. If he relaxed those, then we wouldn't be in this situation.
I'm upset that they didn't have surfboards.
What are you talking about?
Actual Battletoads.
I don't know any of the memes that you guys are... Maps, BlindOracle, you got strong opinions on the maps?
They were fine, right? From a campaign perspective, you should expect to deal with weird stuff like this. At a core level, the bag of tricks that the rogue in this game has are really, really shallow. In a fully fleshed out campaign where you have a little more control over the magic items, or the DM is looking a little further forward on what is useful or not useful for the players, and some of the non-combat things we talk about, the exploration, the scouting, all that, there would be ways to leverage that in a campaign-based game that do not exist here, and that's fine. That's a basic limitation of the premise we are playing with, and I think it's okay. It works out because this rogue is very good at finding opportunities to hide in places that are a little absurd for most other rogues. It works out really well. Beyond that, I have terrified my players of big open spaces, so I don't use them very frequently. I also think that, what works for one group end game doesn't work for other games. So like I think this is fine for this game, and it was great.
Anyone else have thoughts about the maps? Things they liked or disliked?
I'm normally a fan of larger maps just to allow for, like, retreating if you need to or something like that. But the maps were fine. They serve to accent the encounters and give them unique flavor, even if the enemies weren't terribly unique.
Like we said earlier, I think the maps were the actual challenge in this one.
I probably sound like a broken record on this topic, but positioning us further in tends to give us more interesting options because we generally wind up bunkering down near the entrance. Even as short as it was, the final fight where we start in the middle of the space could have been potentially more interesting from a tactical standpoint if it weren't over quite so quickly. If you have the opportunity, I would consider maybe positing fights where we start in the middle of the room and the enemies start coming in at us, where we're on the defensive, because that does give us those opportunities to drop back, to break contact, to use our space a little more than get into contact with the enemies and beat them till they stop moving.
I'll agree that you do sound like a broken record. You have points. I don't entirely understand them, but you certainly have points that I would be interested in understanding further. Restricted, this is your second time with us. You've said that you enjoy larger maps. These are actually some of the larger maps that we've used. Other maps tend to be more constrained than these. Perhaps it's a good thing that you wound up on these, even though you'd like larger ones. I also found that larger maps wind up with longer videos, with longer recording times that isn't necessarily desired.
Yeah, just for positioning gameplay, like, usually I prefer, like, probably a double or triple the size of these maps.
For one encounter?
Maybe not just one encounter.
Certainly that larger maps with multiple rooms, like a dungeon with multiple rooms, I absolutely understand that. One encounter, this seems large.
For, like, a big encounter, maybe. But big thing is that by having more space, you give your players that entire, like, movement aspect. Like, in the one map where we were stuck in the corner there was this entire map, but we couldn't use really any of it at all because we were stuck in that corner. But if, the map was twice its size and expanded on the sides, we could have retreated back the way we came or done something like that, as opposed to being stuck in that corner. But again, that makes combat go on longer and it just adds more complications.
So I feel like big maps just turn into Benny Hill. Like, the tactics at that point devolve into catch the bad guys or run away from the bad guys as fast as you can. The problem is the combat math in 5e is deliberately slated towards taking action. It's why healing spells are always universally less good than damage spells. It's why it's easier to stack a 2-hit modifier than it is to stack AC. The game actively encourages you to attack. If you get into a situation where everyone's best interest is to NASCAR around the map, it takes forever. Or we start checking who has mobility tricks, and then it's just like a stat check or a class check thing. So, like, that's why I am not a huge fan of the big map.
Any other thoughts about these encounters?
Legally distinct slad for the win.
The next set of encounters will be fighting a variety of djinns from multiple cultures and elemental planes, wandering back out into the outer planes. That's where you guys are heading off to. That's all for the encounters of the Chaos Prison. Next week, we'll continue with level 11 and fighting the denizens of the elemental planes. Thank you for stopping by. I'm Saracen Zero, and I hope to see you then.